While I am flattered by the esteemed Hazanui's confidence, I must wonder how my people are meant to have destroyed an entire colony overnight.
You tell us. It's no coincidence that your outpost at Port Mage survived the recent storm.
You speak as if I could command the tides. While you are casting your blame in a wide net, why not look to our Kahanga allies? We do not share their talent for shaping water.
I say our guest forgets himself.
Brother, stand down. You are the one who mistakes my throne room for a sparring arena. I say this is beneath us. An interesting visitor in difficult times. You cannot be here to deliver a favorable omen. The gods remember the honest, and so do I. Allow me to apologize as I toss you before the wolves. This one is a watcher blessed by Tangaloa. I suspect that many of our questions about Hasongo will soon be answered.
Ak, I know this one. His parlor tricks frightened 10 years of every sailor in Queen's Birth.
We assembled to discuss the darkening of Hasongo, one of Rawatai's colonies. Watcher, it seems you have the floor.
Huh. What sailor's tale is this?
There's no sane explanation for what's been happening. You keep waiting for one, it'll be too late.
Does tilling the soils of the Eastern Reach drive all men mad? You sound as crazy as the Dawnstar Dreamers.
Have you not heard the rumors, Karu? An Adra Colossus marching across the sea. Sailor tales, but credible ones.
Ganta Nichese. I'm acquainted with the Watcher of Cadnua from my assignments in Defiance Bay and Twin Elms.
Diverus? It explains the colorful nature of your reports.
I have seen things with him that are not even told in the most outlandish of sailors' tales.
And I'm supposed to take two Valians at their word?
How came a watcher from half the world away to be involved in these happenings? Enlighten the court. The Lady of Doors must have great confidence in you. Tracking down a god who stands as tall as a mountain. A fisherman with poor eyesight could do this. My priests will trip over their feet to interpret his divine plan. Watcher, can you cut through the din and tell for what he comes to the Deadfire? How resourceful of you. The Isles are studded with enough luminous Adra to bankroll an economy. I believe our course is clear. We will send the Watcher to Hasongo. Set sail to the west of Nekataka. I would tell you to keep a weather eye out for a lighthouse, but the God of Light did not appreciate competition. Something to add, Hazanui? You have an eager look about you. She believes herself entitled to my ear, I say.
Only that Hasongo is a Rawataian outpost. It would be useful for the Watcher to take one of ours along.
Ma'am?
Maya's an expert sailor and a better sharpshooter. The best the Brass Citadel has to offer. Whatever comes your way, she'll see it first.
If it gets me and Ashiza out of diplomat duty, we'd set sail with a drunk scolder at the helm.
And shut us out entirely? We have every right to know of any hazards in these waters. Palagino, go with the Watcher. See that the Republics are served in this investigation.
Ah, Your Excellency. Hamed Gongswalias.
That will be enough parading of champions for now. I'm certain that our guest knows how to assemble a crew. Akira, if you can stand the chattering of unlike minds on your ship, that is your prerogative.
Oh, good thing I'm already accustomed to cramped quarters and temperamental birds.
We both have our orders. I have no interest in interfering with you as long as you do not interfere with me.
I believe we are finished here. Aruihi? Aren't we popular? Take care at Hasongo. The Deadfire was overfull before Aethys blundered in. And take care with your trading company spies.
I say it is beyond time our guests lick their wounds somewhere else. Let's speak. While we have the chance. Your coming is a favorable omen already. You happen by a time when our rivals bicker and tear at each other's throats. It does not take a priest to see how the gods send us an outsider to dig under the skin of our enemies. Save your manners for my sister. Kohopa fashioned me for the arena, not the court. I will not paddle around the island. My sister wants to know if you are as useful as you are disruptive. She trusts me to judge this. You did not come this far to serve the crown, I say. But sailing is an expensive hobby. Loyal service can keep your galley stocked. Ikera, to patch a hull or stitch a sail is costly when supplies come from distant islands. The city has honest work for those in need, I say, and insists that everyone carry a heavy purse. My sister keeps a tight grip on Nekataka, but the filth of it drips down her palm and into the gullet. You have some knowledge of Nekataka already. They say you have explored the city beneath the city. Under our noses, I say, do foreigners smuggle contraband and pay the Raparu for their silence? How do they avoid the inspectors? Who is responsible? This cannot have gone unseen by all. Undercroft, a darker, more fetid layer of Nekataka, I say. Onikaza and I are the mind and heart of the city, but the bowels, these we cannot reach. At least Delver's Row is a stable target. The Crown has time to decide the next steps. What say? You hit upon my curiosity. Speak on. You are quick to come to their defense, but the Raparu must recall their place in society. If the black market will expend its resources toward the Raparu, then I say they have bought an uneasy truce. Delver's Row is safe, for now. Be sure that I do not regret this. I had my suspicions, but I had no wish to see them confirmed. When it comes to the dignity of the guild, the Crown can compromise nothing. Onikaza will see their leadership disciplined, I say. Ikira, and if we enjoyed less interesting times, I say she would. Onikaza and I both expect more from the guild, I say. She will not be pleased. Ikira, but at least you returned to me in one piece. You are not the first agent I sent to the gullet, but you are the first to return. I cannot say that I desire to send you to worse places than the gullet, but... Ikira, I like a man who works for his prize. Does the name Ukaizo mean anything to you? Ikira, then the city's bowel hides more than I credit. Ukaizo was the home of the Huana before cataclysm and destruction wiped the island from the Deadfire. That is the story. Story or no, I make no secret that we search for Ukaizo. Our tribes are spread across many isles, but it is Ukaizo which binds us. Ukaizo, and the knowledge that we must return. To that end, a local cartographer secured a lead. A breadcrumb to a breadcrumb, I say. I sent an expedition to Matari Okozi, one of the Sanctuary Isles. They were to retrieve evidence of our lost homeland. They have yet... Before you go...
That did seem like too nice a way to end it.
The expedition. I have reason to believe they will not be returning to Nekataka. You forget yourself, but I am more forgiving than my sister. We found this at the palace doorstep, cut from the robe of the expedition leader. One mystery heaped on another, I say. Kira, that is something, I say. Take care if you alight on Matario Kozi. My fear is that the island is sanctuary no more. Prepare yourself for a hard voyage northeast of Nekataka. Matario Kozi is nestled in the core of Rakuhu Islands, in the midst of a landmass that resembles a storm, like the fall of Ukaizo locked in time.
Yes, I shall. You crack the spine of the old book, revealing blackened pages of dense, illegible text. The words recede into the shadows the longer you focus on them. Suddenly, the page widens to eclipse the world around you. A dark void stretches out on all sides, the air full of choking fumes that carry dying embers and curling flakes of ash. Something stirs in the darkness. An old woman steps forward, leering down at you from on high. Her smile is toothy and cruel. Her cheeks warp around it like melted candle wax.
I'm so glad that my messenger tracked you down. These days it's impossible to find good help. Watcher, before you draw your weapon, know that these proceedings are under a banner of peace. If this was a trap, it would have already closed around you. While Barroth whispers in one ear and Aethys shouts in the other, I thought you could use a more seasoned perspective to drown out the noise. Don't you find it unusual how open and accessible my siblings have made themselves? After millennia of subdued whispers, now they practically scream their intentions. And isn't it strange how we never bicker unless a mortal is watching? If we still possessed our glorious titans, my siblings and I would have put an end to Aethys and his rampage by now. While we are powerless to stop him, some of my kin wish to observe how mortals respond to this threat. They think it will shine a light on the value of our patronage. Have we raised you well enough to be self-sufficient? Or must we return to Eora and impose some corrective measures? A cross-section of society has converged on the Deadfire. Some of my kin are of an opinion that we are meant to judge mortals on the basis of their performance, while the rest of us have already made up our minds on the matter. Judge for yourself. But I think you'll find my intentions are more straightforward than you think. When we ascended to godhood, we did so to provide for a savage people. Our goal was to craft a society whose values were made to last. Perhaps even a society that had no need of us. A naive fallacy, but one that inspired my optimistic, misguided kin. How you and your allies counter this threat will demonstrate whether you are competent enough to guide your own destinies, or if we need to revise our strategy. The soft-hearted among us are counting on you to win this existential wager. No doubt, Aethys shares their sympathies. I do not. We exist to rule over mortals. Nothing can change that. So now you know the truth. I assume you have questions. Whether knowingly or unintentionally, you seem to find yourself on the vanguard of change. Mortals like you come but once in a lifetime. Some would react poorly if I stripped mortals of their freedom without giving them a chance to plead their case. You have the honor of standing tall as their advocate. Before I return to Eora and assume my position as your deserving tyrant, you have this opportunity to prove me wrong. To demonstrate whether or not mortals are responsible enough to claim their future. You speak as if you do. Mortals have precious little time to decide for themselves. Will they stand together as one, or swallow their pride and bend the knee? I have every confidence that you will disappoint us. Once my position is upheld, the undecided among the gods will embrace my plan. The wheel is our shared responsibility, and each of us serves it in our own fashion. I am the axle upon which the gods balance their power. Aethys keeps the wheel in motion. He was our promise to mortals that time and labor would yield a deserving reward on the next turning of the cycle. Much of reincarnation's mechanism exists in the idea space of the beyond. You wouldn't find a wall of cogs and levers unless we conjured one to illustrate a point. The wheel has but one material component in all of Eora. Something we built to channel essence through luminous Adra and into the beyond with reliable continuity. Before we intervened, the flow of essence was directionless, unpredictable. Before we took control of the wheel, reincarnation was error-prone, lacking forward momentum. Hollowborn were fairly common, and hardly the worst of the soul maladies. Control gave us the power to strengthen the souls of intelligent kith over generations. We made you wiser, stronger, more likely to develop the society we thought you deserved. Every turning of the cycle demonstrated the righteousness of my belief. Nature begets chaos, and discipline begets perfection. At the height of our power, we recognized the potential of the soul. We knew that it could be bound, split apart, diverted like a river, and hammered together. Hammering was trivial. Those of us who agreed with the Apotheosis Project, and many who did not, submitted to a violent and horrible erasure of our individuality. After the dust settled, we adopted the forms of beings from Eora's most prevalent myths. There were other faiths and legends, but we labored to strike their names from history. Speak, Watcher. It isn't every day that I open myself to these communions, so spend your breath wisely. Nothing you've done has tarnished it utterly beyond repair. You may congratulate yourself on that much, at least. Prove it or disprove it, yes. I never agreed to this arrangement, but if your example demonstrates mortal ineptitude, as I trust it will, then I can make the plan serve me. An assertive minority of gods believe that your choices will prove the value of their wild optimism. As if mortal collaboration and ingenuity are endorsements of our leadership. Then there are those of us who know better, who are not so easily convinced. Kith are vulnerable, unless they submit to the destiny we chart for them. Thinking otherwise can only breed dissent and chaos. It was an ambitious plan, our utopia. Perhaps too ambitious. We ascended to power, responding to a need inadequately satisfied. Assuming these roles gave us the authority to mold Eora over time, to influence you and lay the groundwork for a society yet to come. On the outset of the plan, some believed that mortals would outgrow us, as if that was a favorable outcome. To me, our eternal pantheon was always a critical fixture. Aethys was one of those who supported mortals, while I have always been their most vocal critic. Opposition can take many forms. If a church embraces and weaponizes my doctrine, that is very different from me rampaging as a titan. Aethys is not known for subtlety. Twice now, he has contaminated the purity of our experiment, and done so with extravagant displays that undermine our authority. His approach was sophisticated, indirect. I owe you no explanations on the matter. Besides, you are not worthy to speak his name. I am the counterpoint to the soft-hearted. It makes no difference if mortals pass some arbitrary test. My mind is settled on the matter. Regardless of my feelings, the timing of this crisis forces us to accelerate our schedule. Final judgment comes sooner than any of us would prefer. Yes, I think we will. This is not the end of our discussion. You know how to find your way back to this place.
Wotica nods stiffly. You feel her presence drift as a breeze, rustling as it goes.
I don't get this at all. There was a Dawnstar settlement on Hasongo. The place got trampled just the same. This is why it went all over again. Only now we know it really is Aethys behind it. I'll tell you one thing. When we catch up to that unstoppable god statue, me and him are gonna have words. Lava better be all right.
Aethys was here all right. And it looks like he was headed to that lighthouse on the western end.
And where do you think I'm going to put it?
Oh, that's
Hey,
the stuff.
that wasn't half bad. Could be a fight. That order's too tall.
Yes. Ha! That's it!
Just like
That's not it. It's beyond. Very well.
Right on target.
Oh, good.
trouble.
Is it me?
And where do you think I'm going to put it?
Just like there.
I should... So...
If you desire answers, look no further.
Wodika nods.
Shut the door, quick, before the Naga get in. We're the finest soldiers and cannoneers in Aora. We don't need anything.
Folks that saw Widewind on the field of battle, ones that lived, used to get rounded up looking like this. Some got reassigned, but most they sent home.
Wait, you're not the reinforcements. There are supposed to be reinforcements. Then you'll want my report. Yes. The first thing was the Colossus. It showed up a few days ago, a week ago, I can't be sure. But it was huge. Glowed like luminous Audra. That monster that killed our people?
I suppose he does look like a monster from down here.
I told you, Zahira. The Godhammer scrambled their god, and now he's taking his revenge.
Our gods are above petty motivations like revenge. No, Gon's got a bigger plan for you and me.
It's no coincidence your Aethys shows up just as Latharn storms out.
The Colossus was coming right for us. Fleetmaster Ko ordered the gunhawks and cannoneers to take up positions. They fought. The rest of us were sent below, like cowards. We don't flee. We don't hide. I heard cannon blasts, artillery fire, felt the world shake. Then the water started coming in. We came back up, and the others were... I don't know. Like they'd been turned to ash. And the Colossus was walking away. The fort was flooding, where it had broken our walls, and the luminous Audra in the lighthouse had gone dark.
They skulked in after, once our walls were down. Those of us who were left fought. But those cowards moved through the sunken hallways. Ambushed us from below.
We were ordered to defend this fort. Our people back home depend on our food shipments.
Those snakes are little more than animals. No match for trained Rawatayan warriors. When the Hazanui's reinforcements get here, we'll strike back.
And build our walls back up so nothing gets through. And double our cannons, so we can destroy that Colossus if it ever comes back. Ammunition? We keep lots of ammunition. Get new shipments all the time from Rawatai.
Not for the bombard. Fleetmaster Ko fired it all at the Colossus. All that's left are cannonballs, and they're too small.
Maybe Imuro had some, in his workshop. He was making these new explosive shells.
That's not really what you'd call a defensive weapon, wouldn't you say? More like something you'd lay siege with.
Anyway, you should check, just in case. Aimuro's workshop was by the northern gate. Is there anything else? Zahira, assistant quartermaster.
Dawn Stars.
Fleetmaster Co. hired them to tend the fields that supply the mainland, but they started acting strange, dreaming strange.
You mean dreaming of things to come?
One of them, Latharan, had a row with the Fleetmaster over it, left angry just before the Colossus showed up. You think that's a coincidence?
I think their praying called it here, getting back at us for the Godhammer. Even if not, they definitely know something.
Spitting at our god? You ought to fear for the future of your soul.
As you can see, we have need of it. Rawatayans do not do anything in half measures. The Deadfire is a savage place. Something that Valian coin counters and Huana tribals do not seem to recognize. But our people conquered Rawatai 2 millennia ago. We understand what it takes to survive, to tame a wild land.
The finest cannons and bombards in the archipelago. Why, you can barely walk the ramparts without... There's still one. There must be one. They can't all have been destroyed. But you'll need a trained artillerist to aim it. On the western side of the fort, it's a true marvel, a monument to Rawatayan engineering.
Proof we can tame and transform this place, once we get rid of the scale bellies.
Don't go back out there. You'll be safe here until reinforcements arrive.
Just stay away from the water. Damn scale bellies are hiding down there. They'll ambush if you get close.
Sometimes you can see them, if you look carefully.
Ready to brawl? Glory be to gone! Oh, good. Just like... What is this?
Come closer. You glow so brightly, just like the away. The striped fiends profane the island, endlessly burrowing, building. They bury the Adra under stone. Sugan says we must find a way in. Sugan says I must find a way in. Speaker for the gods. Grandfather to many. He leads us here. And here I must find a way in. The fiends gather at the walls, searching too. Not for me, but they see me still. You know what it is to roam, to seek distant places. Yes, I feel this in you. Your feet, your eyes, they find the way.
Oh? Certainly.
Looks like trouble.
Boss! I'm not going anywhere like this. Like that. Yes.
Don't think I can pull that off.
I'm not going anywhere. I'd like to try something else.
Say your prayers!
I shall make... So...
Slave sphincter, those snakes were noisy. I don't suppose you brought any extra parchment with you? Of course. What else? Slowly, Aimuro. Can't expect them to know if you don't tell them.
Fie, suppose he's got a better half tucked in there too?
I'm writing it all down. My research, my work, something to survive before the next walk-in Colossus, the next Naga warband. Do you need something? If not, I should focus. So much to do. Only one. Just a prototype. In there. You're welcome to it. I only ask that you compile notes on the blast radius, detonation temperature, smoke formation, debris trajectory. What didn't? A colossus made of Adra marched through the fort, grew bright like luminous, and scores of soldiers fell dead. Incredible. Then the Naga killed everyone else. Except Latharn, I suppose. Yes, he must have left. They should split up. Safer that way. Better odds. Dawnstar fellow. Arrived yesterday? Last week? Complained of strange dreams. Smart of him to leave so soon.
He's gotta be acting on his dreams, trying to help our god.
Do you need something? If not, I should focus. So much to do. How indeed. Naga everywhere. Suppose your best chance will be up along the walls, west and south. But how to get there? Better perhaps to keep going south, around the edge of the fort. Through Fleet Master Ko's office. More cover from the Naga. Safety in numbers, eh? A comforting illusion. Let the others have it if they wish it. I must see that my work survives.
The sea-striped fiends send you to uproot the tree of the gods, yes? Their blasphemy knows no bounds. Go! Carry a warning of what you have seen to the other shufflers. That shufflers must not disturb these roots, or the gods will destroy the islands again. Do your stories say nothing of the many disasters? Of the shuffler nests washed away like foam? Many generations ago, the sand-striped ones built great hives across the islands, and bastions around the Adra roots. Their ancestors, yes, their meddling displeased the gods. So the gods smashed their works with heaving volcanoes and crashing waves. You shufflers are beasts of habit. You do not learn. You do not change. You cast off your sheddings by night, only to put them back on at daybreak. You wrap yourself in filthy, worn-out things. Our ancestors hid deep, where the waters quenched the fires and muffled the storms. They remembered while shufflers scattered. Now, the shufflers build again. The gods see. They will tear them all down. If your fat tongue speaks true, then give us proof.
tell you, thick tongues lie. Forked tongues do not. If what you say is true, then surely you can speak with the dead. I will believe your words, only if I hear them from the tongue of my own people.
Sugan, I found the way.
Yanis? You died. We saw.
The way became dark, but this one brought light.
We will kill the shuffler and free your soul, Yanis.
Do old scales cloud your eyes? The shuffler glows like the Godwalker, like the way. He will open the way.
The gods give you power, yes. But is it enough? Approach. Restore the blessing of the gods to the Adra.
As your hand touches the dim Adra, you feel the same cool, pricking sensation that you did when you touched the pillar near Port Mage. You concentrate on the pillar. The world around you swiftly falls away, leaving only the vast emptiness of the in-between. The Adra, and a multitude of golden threads undulating off into the distance. For a second time, you gather the threads in your mind and bind them together, forming a solid tether that ripples out toward its distant anchor. Again, a crack sounds from the terminus. Your consciousness is violently pulled along the cord. You are prepared for the sensation this time, but are still disoriented when you come to a sudden stop. You find yourself standing behind a familiar Titanic statue as it trudges through invisible waters. Standing at Aethys' shoulder, your soul is dwarfed by the massive god's form. Energy pulses along the tether, each wave feeding the Adra's movements. He stops. His head cranes behind him, again accompanied by the sound of stone shearing and buckling. His eyes rest upon you. He does not reach for the cord, but considers you for a long span of silence before speaking.
Your first attempt to contact me was brave. This second attempt, is it born out of desperation or something else? Why do you continue to follow me, Watcher of Cadnua? Many Kith would like to know the god's designs. Why is it so important to you?
At first, he does not respond, but there is a wavering from the light within him. A momentary dimming that allows you to see the souls within the Adra clearly.
I never sought violence or death, but Margren and the Hand Occult have ensured that the world believes the madman Widewind tried to destroy the Deerwood and everyone in it. In truth, a war was what I desired, but not one of violence. I sought a war of conscience. If people saw that the ruins so faithfully guarded by the Glanfathans were nothing more than machines the Angwithans had used to turn themselves into gods, what could that mean?
Aethys becomes silent. You can sense his presence advancing back along the cord between you. His energy flows over your hand, tendrils of light probing into the air around you. They poke and prod at the silent lost souls hovering in your vicinity.
You are in a unique position. In spite of the work of the Leaden Key and Hand Occult, you have seen through our facade. You know the god's true nature. Without the benefit of your knowledge, few mortals would be willing to accept the true history of their gods. After all, we weren't. The last time I walked Aora, I made a mistake in not revealing my true purpose. I believe you would understand it better than most. Yes, I will tell you, but this is not the time. As I take this body farther from the lighthouse, The tether grows weaker, and I have already tarried too long. Soon this link will unravel completely. If I have not reached my destination when that happens, I will need to pull more souls from your world. It is. When you contacted me from Port Mage, I had to sever my tether to the luminous Adra. Without it, I lacked the strength to reach Hasongo. I pulled souls from the creatures of the ocean and from the people at Hasongo until I could reach the lighthouse. The soldiers and Naga there were no threat to me. I did not kill them out of malice, but simply to keep this body moving. That question, Watcher, requires a more philosophical examination than we have time for.
The edges of Aethys's massive form blur and dissolve. The huge figure retreats from you. As it moves, the tether begins to rapidly unravel. As Aethys speaks, his voice sounds garbled, fragmented, and distant.
If you would know more, find me at the Ashen Maw in Margren's Teeth. I must rest there before I begin my final work. When I leave that place, you will not be able to follow. Before I go, I should return some of this to you. I still have need of the great power of your soul, but I can spare you this portion.
A pulse of energy moves back along the golden cord toward you. It feels familiar, comforting, even before it contacts you. The energy washes over you, flooding you with feelings and memories you had thought long forgotten until they settle back into the cracks of your soul. And then the tether and cord snap, Aethys's figure evaporating into dust that mingles with the endless gray expanse. Heat rushes over you, and the uncomfortable sensation of the Adra Pillar's presence cuts off. The gloom of the in-between is pierced by the light of the living world. You are back in the lighthouse, no longer dim. The luminous Adra beside you is filled with warmth and light.
Long have we kept peace with the sand-striped people. But then, the foreign ones came and spread, killed our people, built their hives everywhere. We were sure the Godwalker came to cast them out, that driving them away was a holy mission. You have never fought to defend something. Very fortunate. Or cowardly. We must go. I know not what this means, but our brethren should hear of it. You show us something new today, Shuffler. Thank you for this. And for your mercy.
Yeah, that's it!
Just like that.
That's right. Keep slithering.
You were gabbing with my god again, weren't you?
I was rather hoping someone else would bring that up. If you got something to tell us... All the places he can go, and he chooses a spot named for Margren. What could he be thinking?
I'm ready to chase Gone if you are.
Well, Margren's Teeth sounds like the kind of place that should rather stick out. Shall we continue on?
cowards! I knew they'd run!
Look at our beacon. Even the Colossus couldn't destroy it. And those snakes aren't so tough now, are they? Of course. The Hanzanui will want to thank you personally for your help here. And she should also know what we're up against. She's usually at the Brass Citadel in Nekataka. Though she gets called to the palace often, haggling with the Queen and the Valians. Looking for a real challenge after what you did to those scale bellies? The only thing I know about the place is it's supposedly made of fire. And no one's ever come back from it. But anything can be overcome. Clear skies.